Hello and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, the weekly podcast that revisits, reviews, and ridicules some of the world's weirdest animated series. I'll be your host, Dave Trumbore. Joining me tonight, as always, the lovely, the talented Sean Paul Ellis. How's it going tonight, sir?
David, I'm doing well. How about
Oh,
yourself?
I'm doing just fine, and I'm going to turn it right back over to you. You can introduce our special guest for the second time.
Oh my gosh, this is a repeat. We are delighted to have Laura Barber back. Welcome, Laura. How are you
Woo!
doing tonight?
Applause sound effects, because I don't have the
Yeah.
soundboard queued up.
Beep, beep,
So
beep, beep.
applause sound effect. There it is.
Aw, you guys are so sweet. Thank you for having me again for a second time. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm hoping you enjoy this show slightly more than the last time.
If I come back again, do I get more applause and more tootly songs from Sean?
Yeah,
Uh,
anything you want. We'll
yeah,
put it
you
on your
get
rider.
Okay, every
you
time.
continually get more rap air horn.
Yeah.
We're gonna get all kinds of different ones. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna find Mark Mothersball's like Casio keyboard sound effects, and you can just have all of them that you want. We'll just play them all for you. Since I mentioned Mark Mothersball, we're clearly talking Rugrats tonight. It's the second of our New Year's Nicktoons. Last week we rolled out Doug to start off the new year 2015, and tonight we're following it up with Rugrats. Good times. I really enjoyed this one. I wasn't sure how it was going to hold up. I found it delightful, but we will get into that. Sean, do you want to roll through the history? Would you rather do synopsis? We didn't really talk about that beforehand, so we'll
Oh
just.
man, yeah, you can really tell that we did a lot of show prep on this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what there is to really say historically. I mean, we talked sort of about the progression of some of the Nicktoons, and we fondly reminisced uh, a little bit about our experiences last episode. And we talked about sort of the sequence in terms of it was Doug, Rugrats, and the Ren and Stimpy show were the original three.
Right.
Um, this series premiered with everything else in August with Doug and Ren and Stimpy on August 11th, 1991. This originally was a Sunday morning Nicktoon, so this would have come on at 10:30 Eastern. It originally stopped after 65 episodes in 1993, with the last one it was airing on May 22nd, 1994. Um, One of the biggest things, or one of the, I think some of the one of the best things about Rugrats is that during that time, the only new episodes that actually premiered during 95 and 96 were Rugrats Passover and a Rugrats Hanukkah, which came out to a lot of praise because, I mean, quite honestly, there are not very many Hanukkah or Passover-centric cartoons that are out there that are family-friendly for everybody to watch.
Yeah, I honestly forgot
Um,
about that until we read them over in the prep for the show notes and stuff. I forgot about it, but then as soon as I read it, I definitely remember watching them.
yeah,
And I remember just I don't know. I kind of wish we would have watched them for this show, but I don't know. Maybe maybe come Hanukkah later this year, we'll revisit these if we remember. But
yeah,
I
I
remember
absolutely
just
think.
enjoying them as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that you know, later this year when Passover and Hanukkah come around, I
Hmm.
mean, we're always looking for holiday episodes, and
Boy, are we.
Rugrats absolutely fits the bill. So
Yeah.
this is perfect for us.
Oh, cool.
Um, Regular episodes started back up in '97. There was a Rugrats movie, just kind of like how there was a Doug movie. Thankfully, the Rugrats movie was just called the Rugrats movie
Yeah.
instead of the Rugrats first movie. Um, Unlike Doug. Much to the critical success of Rugrats, there was actually two movies. There was a Rugrat movie, and then there was Rugrats in Paris, the movie. Um, in the Rugrats movie, they introduced Tommy's younger brother, Dill,
Hmm.
who comes into the foray in 1998.
And that's dill
Uh,
pickle for those who are not
Dill
who are
Pickle,
not
yeah,
up
I
on the
know.
names. So
I
yeah,
know.
there it
Ugh,
is.
oh boy,
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
where
of
it started to tank a little bit. A little bit.
so those babies jumped the shark. Um, so there was a Rugrats in Paris that came out in 2000. Um, and then I don't remember this. Looking through the wiki article about this,
Yeah.
Rugrats Go Wild.
I
I
think it
didn't
was past our
realize.
prime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I don't remember it. I sure as hell didn't watch it,
I mean,
but
considering we were in college at the time, I feel like there's probably a good reason why we didn't go to
right, right.
Rugrats Go Wild.
Honestly, though, if I would have been watching it and you would have walked into the room, you'd been like, "Oh, sweet, Rugrats," and you would have just sat down next to me and
Yeah,
been like,
that's a
"Great, this is
hundred
wonderful."
percent accurate. Yeah, but
So,
we didn't. So maybe in the future we'll watch that one. Laura, did you happen to catch Rugrats Go Wild? I'm not sure.
No, I was also in college at the
I
time.
watched a different series of videos of Go Wild videos, but it wasn't Rugrats. So I remember that.
I mean,
I was
didn't-
sort of vaguely aware that there was a movie, but no, I have never seen any of the Rugrats movies.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I have either. I don't think I've seen the original one. I mean, I remember watching the series fondly, but yeah, not so much the movies.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I guess I was just
Yeah.
surprised that it was that Rugrats Go Wild was a crossover to lead into the other Nicktoon, the Wild Thornberries.
Yeah, that's a little strange. I don't know. Was it a lead-in or was it just an actual like crossover
I think it
film?
was just a crossover.
Yeah, I think they were both probably just fairly successful. Rugrats was kind of at the end of its rope after almost 172 episodes,
Yeah.
which is second
I mean,
in
they went
Nicktoons
nine
only to
seasons.
SpongeBob. Yeah.
Yeah, 9 seasons, and they spanned it from 1991 until 2004.
Yeah. With a couple of years they missed in between, like Sean mentioned, but I mean, pretty damn successful for a Nicktoon that started in '91 on kind of like a shoestring budget with a crazy named creator that like nobody had really ever heard of. I'm gonna butcher his name because it's Hungarian. It's spelled Gabor Supo. That's actually like the westernized version of that. It's actually Supo Gabor or Gabor, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a fairly well-known name. He's also done Duckman, and I believe he did Real Monsters as well. So he did another Nicktoon. But yeah, that was not necessarily where he got his start because they already had an animation studio at that point. But this is by far the most successful from his career, and rightfully so.
I don't know though. I mean, I loved Duckman. Duckman was
Yeah, I mean,
one of my
definitely a
favorites.
different audience by far. I would say. I think that goes without saying.
So you wanna sum this bad boy up?
I mean, yeah.
You wanna spank this baby? Put it to bed?
I don't know if I want to smack the baby, but
Rock it to sleep?
yeah. So Rugrats is focused on a group of toddlers. So we already mentioned Dill Pickle. He doesn't come around till later because his older brother Tommy is basically the central protagonist. He's the lead of the show. So it's Tommy, his buddy Chucky, his other baby friends Phil and Lil, the twins, and then his older cousin, his bratty cousin Angelica, who everybody loves to hate because she's just a holy terror. And it takes place
What a jerk.
in their world. So the adults are around as well, but they kind of do their own thing, and the babies, as soon as the adults leave the room, the babies kind of go off on their own madcap adventures, and the adults are kind of like consumed with their own things. So it's all about the babies, and I mean, they get into crazy, crazy adventures, and I love the cinematography in this show because it's shown from like their perspective. So everything is shot really close down to the floor, and by shot I mean drawn because this is animated. In case, you
Whoa,
didn't
wait,
pick up
these
on
weren't
that.
real babies?
No, they weren't real babies. They weren't terribly deformed, creepy
I
babies.
honestly, I watched every episode in like abject terror that these kids were just gonna die.
They all did look like they were, like the family had moved into some sort of radioactive former nuclear test site or something. They looked.
No, I'm not actually talking about just the character design or just the fact that they all kind of like that their heads are all shaped like lumpy mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that like watching this show, I was like, oh my god, these are shitty parents.
Oh yeah, they don't pay attention to him at all. None whatsoever.
None of them really seem to give a fuck about their kids ever.
Yeah, Sean, I'd like you to expand a bit more about these terrible, terrible parents and adults.
Yeah, sure. It just seems like every parent, every caretaker of these children is absolutely 100% consistently negligent of their duty in taking care of something that
Sorry,
needs...
Sean said duty in a show about babies. Sean said duty.
Oh, shut up.
I needed to bring that to your attention.
Like it's just look, I don't. None of us on this show have babies.
Nope. As far as I know.
But I mean, babies require constant attention.
No,
Like,
just a hover chair. That's really all you need. The hover chair and dog food, and they are set.
so it's just kind of like every episode, like the plot of every episode, like there would be no episode unless unless any one of the adults had decided that they were
Responsible?
responsible in any way, shape, or form. Like they are consistently just like, oh, this other thing that my life is consumed with, I'm gonna go explore that thing, and then they're off and they're running, and they don't fucking give a shit about these kids. Like,
But
I feel-
there wouldn't, yeah, like you said, there wouldn't be a show though.
Right.
I mean, the parents, they never really understand
what's going on with the babies. They aren't able to help, except unintentionally.
The mid '90s, I believe it was a mid '90s hit. Parents Just Don't Understand was actually about Rugrats. It was
Hmm.
conceived and inspired by Rugrats.
Oh
You
boy.
guys learned so much on this show from my facts.
God, are you
You're
okay?
welcome, everyone.
Are you sore? Because I mean, you were reaching considerably
Oh
on there.
boy, that's
I
good.
just wanted to make sure you didn't
That's
hurt
good.
yourself.
Sean's
Yeah.
an archaeologist. He just dug that joke far, far out of the past.
Oh,
Far out
it's
of the
my
past.
duty.
Oh, there it is again. Duty count. We're gonna keep a duty count. That's
Duty
times
count.
two.
I'm just gonna stand back and let you guys keep going.
Sometimes it's for the best.
I feel like this is gonna get to that awkward moment where Dave and I are we're gonna be like, all right, who's a better parent? Like, and we're gonna make you decide at the end of this episode.
Oh,
Laura.
between the two of us? I thought you meant like the people
Yeah.
on the show. Oh God, the
Between
two of us?
Like,
Oh,
no,
oh, who's a better
anybody listening
potential
is welcome
father?
to chime in. I
Ooh.
mean, I clearly think that I'm the better parent.
Ooh,
but I'm biased
throwing the
because
gauntlet
I'm a
down. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
my
agree with
word.
that whatsoever.
I'd have to do a home study for both of you to see what conditions you'd be bringing this child into.
We'll just turn
That's
our,
fair.
our webcams on for like a 24-hour period, and you can just make your decision
Mhm.
from that. All
I
access.
mean, I
Saturday
also
morning
want to
cartoons.
I also want to note that Dave had to preface this show with saying off air that like at any point in time I have to stand on my head to prevent myself from getting electrocuted in my apartment.
That's a fact.
I don't have to worry about kids getting electrocuted.
Well,
at my
I don't have to
place.
worry about it either because I am acting as the ground in this apartment. So as long as the kids never touch me, they're going to be perfectly fine.
Oh no, that's a perfect childing. I mean, that's literally the parenting stance that every adult in Rugrats.
It was in
took.
Mr. Lipschitz' Guide to Parenting.
Yeah, God.
Oh my God, I forget who. Okay, so there's an amazing voice cast for this show. Now, granted, there would be after 172 episodes, especially the more popular they got, into the 2000s.
Mhm.
But my God, there's just like anyone and everyone who's ever spoken on screen has at least a cameo role in this show. And Dr. Lipschitz, I can't remember who he is. I want to say Tony J, who we've talked about on this show before, but I can't quite remember if that's him or not. There are some amazing other cameos on here though,
Okay.
like Tom Bosley. Tom Bosley
I
was in a couple episodes, and we just had him on for
Jeremy
David the Gnome.
Piven was in an
Yeah,
episode.
Jeremy Piven. Kim Cattrall. I'm just kind of going through the list now. D. Bradley Baker, who does a ton of voice work. I don't know why Kim Cattrall came up. That's just where I happen to be on IMDb.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Bookmarked.
Bookmark Kim Cattrall. Yeah, Jeremy Piven. Hold on. He was a car salesman, which I love. Yeah, Tony J was Dr. Lipschitz. He had 10 episodes. I think he just like appears on the TV as this like parenting guru to help idiots
Yeah.
like Sean and myself not kill their children. But clearly he's not that successful because these kids are at risk of dying, like Sean said, each and every episode.
Yeah, pretty much every time like an episode started, I kind of just held my breath and I was like, "Oh, these kids are gonna die."
Does anyone? I mean, do they ever get real on this show? Does anybody ever actually like get sick or die or anything like that? Do you know?
I don't remember.
No.
Well, no, Tommy does get sick in the third episode when Angelica leaves the window open. Or maybe that's the second episode.
No, I think it's the third one because I only got to watch the first half of that third one, but I remember that one. His little creepy. He has like a fever dream that's really twisted and disturbing.
And then his face turns gray.
Yeah.
It's really,
What?
yeah.
That happened, Sean. What a terrible father you are. You don't know that babies get gray face
Oh my God. Our baby's gonna die, Sean.
from gray
Laura,
from
our
gray
baby
face
is
and
a sack
electrocution.
of flour that you've been carrying around. And what
Your son has a name.
Look, little bag of flour and I are gonna bond.
Oh, little
all right?
bag.
We're gonna.
Call him little
His
bag.
name is Jeremy. His name is Jeremy.
Oh God. Well, Jeremy, little bag of flour, and I are gonna have some strict bonding time, and I could not be more excited.
Strict bonding time. That sounds vaguely sexual. I don't know
We are
how I
going-
feel about
we are
this.
going to we are going to bond, and that's
This is-
all we're gonna do.
Oh boy.
This has been recorded, and I'm going to share it with the judge, Sean.
For posterity.
How this is classic you, Laura. Just a bad mother through and through.
Welcome to Dr. Lipschitz Parenting Hour. Saturday morning cartoons. Oh boy, I don't know how we roll from this, so I'm just gonna shoehorn this theme song in here. It again does not have any lyrics to it. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
weird mouth noises again, just like on Doug. They all come from Mother's Ball's keyboard though, which I find interesting, odd, and just like really curious. That he just kind of like developed his style it seems like just on this show, and then just went off to do a bunch of other crazy stuff. But I want your guys' kind of opinion of the theme song, especially with how they shot the intro, how they kind of introduced the characters, again with no lyrics, no introduction by name or anything like that. I just kind of want your reaction to this. Laura, you can jump in there first, because Sean's probably got his thesis going on right now.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have to say that just hearing the song kind of triggered all of these like this flood of childhood memories. Having watched this show pretty religiously for most of the '90s. Well, sorry, what was the question?
No, I mean that's great. Basically, just your reaction to the intro. She's just humming it in her head right now.
You don't pay attention to Jeremy Sack of
She
Flour.
is humming the
You
song
give him
and
this
rocking
single
Jeremy to sleep. You leave her alone,
No,
you monster.
I'm covering his little ears.
I just get this like mental image of Laura like rocking Jeremy Sack of Flour, and like the baby like over top of like its like swaddle is just like an ashtray, and like Laura's just Laura doesn't even smoke. I don't know. I have no
I only
idea.
smoke when I have the baby.
And that accounts for the gray face. Old gray face baby.
Poor gray face baby.
Jeremy, little bag of flour. We knew
Little
you.
ashen.
We knew you well.
Yeah.
We miss you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Very tense, very tiny pop.
Well, speaking of the first episode, which does actually have Angelica landing in a sack of flour.
Yes, thank you for picking that up. That's fantastic.
Just making connections
Nicely done.
all over the place. Thank you. I enjoyed the baby POV shot.
Yes.
All the time, where you see like I guess the in episode 1, he's obsessed with this dog food. You sort of see the dog food, kind of recede in the distance. But I guess the first one is when he's in the crib and you see his parents hovering over him.
Right.
And their parents are immediately a little ridiculous. So you're going to be on the baby side. But it takes a little while for Tommy to kind of come into his own. It's only when he's sort of plopped in the little playpen with Phil and Lil, and the parents walk away, and then the babies start talking.
I like that this is set
so
up as
exciting. It's so great when
parents
they do
versus
start
babies.
talking.
Oh yeah, it's great because this is what
Yeah.
it's like 10 minutes. I mean, we're jumping a little ahead, but it's like 10 minutes, maybe not that long, 5 minutes of just the parents doing their thing, and then the kids just kind of like waddling around. And then once the parents leave the room, the babies actually start talking. And I remember watching that as a kid and just being like, "Whoa!" Like I did not expect to see that. Like you don't expect to see that coming. I don't know unless you've watched promos or something for the show, but real quick, just to get back to the theme song where everybody's kind of like introduced. Sean, to your theory, how does this prepare the viewers for what they're about to see on the show itself?
I think it prepares the viewers very well. I mean, to sum this show up in one word, I would have to say safe.
I would say Rugrats, but that's just me. I'm not very creative.
That was not a super creative jump in, buddy. All right, no, I would say that this show is just very safe, and so the intro itself was very safe, and it was not a Clips intro. It was not any type of a hybrid like.
I'm curious about safe. Please expand on that definition of safe, though, because you just
safe,
unsafe or safe.
Safe.
Because you multiple times now have said that you worried about the lives of these babies in every episode that we watched. So how is it safe?
Right. No. I mean, like the show itself is safe in the sense that like there's no drug episode. Nobody really, I mean, except for the fever dream, like nobody gets sick. Like there's not like real life stuff like dealt with.
No,
here.
I
Like,
just
there's
wish
no
there was a
guns,
drug
there's no
episode
weapons.
for a bunch of like 1-year-olds just just wandering on the streets
love it.
in the
I would
fucking,
love it.
in the ghetto, just
Drinking Dimetapp. And
god, just stumbling home. Exactly, I would watch that. I would watch drunk Rugrats.
But it's just it was. I don't know. I felt like it was a very safe show. It was very vanilla. Like watching any episode now, I'm not sure. I know, Dave, you said that you were happy to watch this because you felt that it held up. That you were happy that it did as much, that it held up after so many years. I, on the other hand, I kind of was just like watching every episode. I was like, oh, I know exactly how this is going to end. And like I watched the show.
I mean, did you though? Like,
Yeah,
Did
I mean, I
you?
watched this show all the time, and
Well, I
like,
mean, maybe you're remembering how it ended, but like when you watched it first, like, did you know that like, oh, okay, they're gonna? I mean, maybe, yeah, I guess you could see in the first one what was coming, but I don't know. I thought the writing was strong for this. I think it holds up because I'm seeing new stuff in there that I didn't see when I was a kid, and it's mostly focused on like the parents and how they act. Very much like caricatures of real people, but they're actually fairly realistically portrayed. They're all
the
kind of
fat,
like, yeah,
yeah. Let's get into
Mhm.
how realistic they are. Tommy Pickles' father, Stu, is a he builds toys because
Mhm.
yeah.
in his basement.
He's an
So
inventor. Like,
that's realistic. They still have toy inventors that he's like a Geppetto. So that's a legit career option.
it was in
you know, if you
1991
if you
before the
want to if you
internet.
want to pass out a fucking business card that just says, yeah, I'm a
Mhm.
tinkerer, like you stinker, like just
Hey, it
the
worked for
mother.
Mark Wahlberg in the last Transformers movie where he
Ugh,
screams, "I'm an
ugh.
inventor!" 1,000
Yeah,
times
that's why it was a shitty fucking Transformers movie. Do not support Michael
because
Bay.
they stole it from Rugrats.
Yeah. His mom is a home ec teacher.
Dee Dee.
So that's
Oh,
Dee
Dee
Dee.
Dee
So that's relatively grounded. The grandpa just
is awesome. He's the best character on the
he's
I
show.
love him.
Grandpa
best
Lou,
one.
you sprats.
Yeah. So but then like you look at some of the other like I have no idea what Phil and Lil's mom did. Every time
She just
came
works
over,
out
she's
and beats
like,
the shit out of her husband every day. That's
she
all
had,
you need to know.
Coffee. It's just like, hey, let's talk about the day over a cup of Bavarian mocha. It's like, all right, you have a caffeine addiction. You need to calm the hell down.
Yeah, welcome to
She
real
was like
life.
a Rosie O'Donnell type. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of
I could
like
see that.
her. Like if there were a live action version of Rugrats.
And her husband was basically Larry Fine from the Three Stooges, just without the other two Stooges. So he's just like completely broken. He's a broken man, and just just belittled by this beast of a woman every day.
But Dave, to go back to your question, I can see why saying that it is safe doesn't make sense.
Nope.
So maybe I'll just say that the show was very vanilla for me.
Man, I gotta
when
completely
I
disagree.
look
Like,
back. Well, that's
look.
fine because that's your opinion, asshole.
Wow.
But it's not mine, so I think you're wrong.
Oh my goodness.
But
So aggressive.
so aggressive.
Again, this is 2 weeks in a
He's
row. He's
setting
so
a really
aggressive.
bad example for Jeremy Bag of Flour right
Yeah,
now.
he's crying.
Oh my
Can't you
God.
hear him?
I'm not the
He's
one
crying
using
his little
our
doe
child
tears.
as an ashtray, Laura.
He likes it.
He's
No, I mean, look at the shows that came before this. Like, look at the shows that the family shows, not the kind of avant-garde stuff we've talked about in the past, where it was made for like adults that just happened to be animated, like the Ralph Bakshi stuff or any of that. But like the actual cartoons that were on TV, you mostly had the Hanna-Barbera stuff. And yes, they did have some like family dynamics and stuff in it, but they were mostly just like they weren't quite as quirky. They were just kind of like straight comedic things. You had the Flintstones that was an offshoot from like the Honeymooners. You had the Jetsons, which was, the family dynamic just set in a quote unquote future. You had things like that. This was like super quirky, but also realistic to the point that like everybody within the family has their own kind of quirks and they don't always get along and they've got their own things that they're interested in while also trying to raise a family at the same time. And I just loved that we just got to see into their homes, into their living rooms, into their lives. And you got to see everybody. You got to see mom and dad, you got to see the neighbors, you got to see the cousins. The grandpa was there. And meanwhile, everything focuses on just the babies, which that by itself makes this as far from vanilla as possible, I think, for the time. Because that is a very, very strange thing it's a strange group of characters to center your story around. Something that pretty much nobody, like everybody can relate to in a very, very distant sense because we were all babies at one point, but nobody can really relate to it because you don't remember being 1 year old. So I thought that was the most interesting thing.
I think it was
for me
an
for the show.
interesting take. I
Yeah.
definitely think it was an interesting take, but I found the show. I got a little bit bored. I had a really hard time kind of getting back into the show.
Okay, I could see that.
And a counterpoint to your point about the family dynamic for Hanna-Barbera, and since Laura is here, let's talk about the family dynamic that was in Herculoids.
Ooh,
Which
why are you
was
bringing that
another
back up?
Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
In that
which
non-family, it was just three
which is a
strangers on
family
a
unit.
planet.
Yeah, that was just a garbage family unit. So I mean, that tracked compactor of a nuclear family that they had created in Herculoids was just nothing.
Yeah, there's that. So it was different. So it wasn't the same old thing over and over again. But I
Yeah.
mean, watching this one, I picked up on things that I obviously didn't think about when I was a kid. Just like choice of camera angles, like Laura said, with the point of view cam, which I think they used sparingly enough, but also in interesting ways. And Laura mentioned, like in the beginning, we might as well just get into the first episode, and we'll talk about
Yeah,
the
let's just jump
characters as we do.
We're
So,
already there. Let's just dive in.
it's not even a jump; it's just a little hop and a skip. So what was the first thing that we see? Do we actually just see Phil, or I'm sorry, do we just see Stu and Dee Dee first off? Do we see them from Tommy's perspective? Is that the first thing we see? The first episode is Tommy's first birthday, by the way.
I think it's dark, and then he opens his eyes.
Oh, did I? Because the first
What'd you
episode I
watch?
watched was season 1 that was on Amazon.
Yeah. Did
and
you watch the best of season 1, or did you watch the actual season 1?
I watched the actual season 1, I think.
Okay. Did I watch
And
the wrong thing?
it was a baby commercial little dude.
What the hell is that?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I
Laura's
watched the one that's like Tommy's birthday.
Yeah, Tommy's first birthday, which is the first episode.
Oh.
There was a pilot that was never aired. It was like Tommy and the Great White Thing, and I don't think it was ever aired, so I didn't get to watch that. But yeah, the first one is Tommy's first birthday.
Who? No. I guess
Well, I
I watched
am
different episodes.
very
Guys.
curious about what you watched.
Here we go.
All right.
Well, Laura and I will have a little chat about this for a little while. So yeah,
What
he's opening his eyes, right? And he sees his parents, and we see the view from him. So what's your kind of reaction to like his goofy, oddball, vanilla parents, according to Sean?
You know, I watched this actually today with somebody who had never watched the show as a kid.
Interesting.
And yeah, and you know, we both enjoyed it a lot. And I think one of the things that is sort of established right away, I feel like it to me it looks different from other children's cartoons.
Right.
You know, I think you know, from the very start when it's dark, he opens his eyes, he sees his parents. You know, I remember watching this as a kid. I was very into what the kids were doing in the show. I think I had like a different appreciation for the parents. You know, I kind of knew what was being satirized because each of the parents is sort of a type.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they're like a heightened caricature of something, one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, immediately the parents, you know, the baby's like blinking his eyes open on his first birthday, and the parents are, I think, arguing. Like the dad, like Stu is worried about his shirt,
Right.
and Dee Dee
His
is worried
$75
about,
shirt. Yeah.
yeah,
Which is
yeah.
hideous, by the way.
Yeah, I still wouldn't pay $75 for a
For any
shirt. It's
shirt,
like
no.
25 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And Dee Dee's worried, I think, about the carrot cake or something.
Yeah, so they've got her as like this kind of, she's kind of new agey, she's into the health food kick, so they really stress that quite a bit. And at the
They're definitely kind of 90s yuppies.
Oh yeah, most definitely. They're kind of irritating at that point too, because you just kind of like, you don't really want to like these people, but then as this episode goes on, you see them just like they're trying to do the best for their kid, they're trying to impress everybody, and they screw everything up. But it all kind of works out in the end because everybody has a good time and the family is, you know, just as close as they ever were. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, you know, and eventually the grandpa shows up, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
Dee Dee's parents roll in,
That-
cursing and speaking Yiddish at each other.
They were the best.
I loved them, and I had completely forgotten about them. And yeah, I think by the end it's kind of nice. You know, it does give you it's. I guess I sort of see what Sean is saying about it being safe in that, you know, like there's not going to be the, you know, Tommy like gets offered crack at the nursery school.
I mean, yeah, as far as, okay, I'll give you that as far as
Laura, I
that
have to
definition
say,
of
You were
safe.
doing a great child. You were doing a great job raising our child.
She's not
You're gonna
offering
agree
him
with me on that
crack,
point. You're
so
doing a wonderful job raising our child.
Thank you.
By not offering crack.
I put Jeremy a bag of flour down before I smoked crack, so I think I'm a pretty good mom.
well, that's good at least. You know?
I'll say I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Thank you.
there's no crack smoking by babies in this episode. However, something akin to crack for these babies, dog food. Dog food. And I honestly, like, when I watched this again, that still made me laugh because Tommy basically looks. Okay, so we spend 5 minutes with the adults. So it's Stu and Dee Dee. They're running around. Stu's all crazy, excited about his new invention, and then
the hover, what is it?
the
again?
hoverama, or the hover what's it as everybody calls it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's super excited about that. And then the neighbors come over with their two kids, the twins Phil and Lil. And then Grandpa's roaming around. And then eventually Stu's older brother comes over with Angelica. So all the adults are just kind of doing their own thing for a while, for a good while. And the babies are just crawling around. Then we cut to the babies, and we finally get to, like, it's surprising at first when they talk, and then what they decide to do is, I don't know, I thought it was pretty funny and interesting. Because Tommy looks at the rest of them, he's just like, I got 2 words for you: dog food. And they're just like, oh, let's talk about dog food. It's just so fucking bizarre. So strange. You're like, why are these babies interested in dog food? It's not just...
Oddly enough, Dave and I have had those same conversations.
Yeah, yep. Usually while high on crack. But for another
and
time.
I love, too, how they use dog food as this device to introduce the personalities of each kid.
Yes.
You know, because I forget why Tommy's into it, but I remember Phil and Lil are like, oh, because I think you can eat it and turn into a dog. And so I don't remember what Tommy liked about being a dog, but Phil and Lil were like, oh, we'd get to poop outside.
Yeah, so they all love the idea that, like, because Tommy has a dog, the dog is Spike, that's the family dog. He sees Spike eating the food, and he's like, I want a piece of that, not Spike the food. And then he thinks that they can, the dog food will turn them all into dogs. So like Laura said,
good clarification.
Thank you, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to get weirder than it is. So yeah, Phil and Lil, they want fleas, they want to roll around in the flowers, they want to do all these different things. They're basically just like the kind of, you know, they're kind of dirty, they're kind of rambunctious, they're kind of loud kids. But, I mean, they're good kids. Tommy is a little more reserved, but I think he just wants to be, he just wants to go have adventures. So he's like the good guy, but he's adventurous. So he wants to be outside and run around and, like, do all kinds of stuff. Chucky, who's the scaredy cat, the redheaded kid with the glasses, he doesn't really want anything to do with it. He especially doesn't want anything to do with the fleas or getting dirty. And then you remember Angelica's, what she wanted to do, what she was real excited about?
She was excited about biting the mailman.
Yeah, multiple times. She mentions it like 3-4 times. Because she's vicious. She's a vicious little brat.
You missed a good episode, Sean.
You really did, man.
I feel like a jerk now. I did not watch this episode, which makes me feel like an idiot.
It's a good one to watch, though. It's a good one to watch. Go back and check it out.
Yeah, I watched. I guess I realized now that there are 2 season 1s of Rugrats.
Yeah, best of and regular season 1. Is that right?
And I guess. And I watched episode 4, Baby Commercial Little Dude, episode 5, Beauty Contest Baseball, and episode 8, Real or Robot and Special Delivery.
See, now, so you didn't even get to watch a Reptar episode?
I didn't get a Reptar
Oh my
episode.
god, just take a nap for the rest of this, and Laura and I will handle it from here on out.
I'll see you guys later.
See you, buddy.
Jetpack out.
Say goodbye to your son.
Oh.
Oh, you are.
Ooh, edited.
You are a cruel
Radio edit. Even our titles of the shows we watch were better than yours. We had Tommy's first birthday. We had.
I didn't name these. I screwed up, so it's my fault.
No, this is good because we'll get a little bit more perspective from a couple different episodes. Maybe the ones you watched were a little plainer. Maybe maybe these first ones came out and they were just like, you guys are a little fucking weird. Let's rein it in.
I will say.
Idiosyncratic.
I will say the episodes that I did watch, Baby Commercial, Phil and Lil run amok on a diaper commercial set.
I remember that.
And it looks like they almost die.
Yeah.
Little Dude, Tommy gets lost in the school where Dee Dee works when she brings him in, and he gets stuck on the back of a pickup truck at one point. Almost looks like he dies.
Yeah.
Baseball, episode 5, he follows a balloon that looks like a bear up to the top grandstand of a baseball station, grabs the balloon, and then falls down into this major league player's glove.
Yes, I remember that too.
He catches him gracefully and pretty much could have died at any moment.
This is basically like Baby's Day Out. Do you guys remember that? A horrible movie, but delightful romp.
And then the only thing that I was just I was super not weirded out about, but I was just like, whoa, this is a weird mixed message, especially for this day and age when there's so much conversation in terms of understanding that we don't necessarily need to have a gender binary. Episode 5, Beauty Contest. There is it's called the Little Miss Lovely contest.
Yeah, like for Angelica, right?
Well, no.
Interesting.
The top prize is a Kingfisher 2000 fishing boat.
Oh, I remember this now.
And Grandpa sees it and decides that he is going to get Stu to dress up Tommy in one of Stu's one of the doll sets that he has for when he's making dolls in the
His creepy
basement, which is
toys.
a weird thing for a man to do.
He's a
but, yeah.
weird guy overall. We'll talk about him more in one of the episodes. Waiter, there's a baby in my soup. But anyway,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
But the message of this is that like cross-dressing is fine.
Yeah, for babies.
If there's a prize.
If you can win a fucking sweet
If
fishing
you can,
boat, yeah.
If you can win a sweet fishing boat, yeah, cross-dress all you want, but otherwise, ew, no. In fact, that's the reaction that Stu has when Grandpa tells him. He's like, so what if we? And he comes right out and says it too, which is like beautiful. He's like, why don't we just dress up? He goes, do you ever wish that Tommy was a girl? And Stu's just like, what? He's like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, do you ever just wish that like Tommy was a girl? And he's just like, no, what are you talking about, Dad? He's like, what about for a Kingfisher 9000 fishing boat? And Stu's just like,
I can
oh,
see
yeah, put him in
him
a
saying
fucking
this.
wig.
Yeah,
Put him in
absolutely.
a fucking wig.
Can we take this moment to like just talk about Grandpa a little bit, because
Yes,
he's my
please.
absolute favorite, runaway favorite on the show.
love him.
He's simultaneously like this crotchety old man that complains about everything, but he's also like the only one that kind of like, he almost treats the kids, I don't want to say as adults, but he just kind of treats them with like,
Respect.
yeah, respect, and not from a parenting guide. He's just like, oh, you're little kids and you probably want a bunch of snacks, so here's a bunch of snacks. It's like, oh, you probably want to go see this sweet movie. Let's go see this sweet movie instead of this garbage your parents have you watching.
So I've got a question for you.
Shoot.
I've got a question for you. At the end of episode 1,
Mhm.
when Grandpa takes the can of dog food,
Yeah.
opens it up
With a
and
pen
puts it on
knife,
the
by the
plate.
way, with a pen
With a
knife.
pen
I
knife.
love that. Yeah,
It's
Swiss Army knife.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I had watching him do that. I'm like, can you do that in real life? I've never opened a can that
Well,
way.
I don't know if he can do it that fast with his arthritic joints, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
And he puts the plate down on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he knows? Hey, the babies want this.
I feel like there's a part of him that's probably just like, wouldn't it be hilarious if
If-
these yuppie kids of mine watch their kids eating dog food? So I'm just gonna leave this right here for these fucking kids. I feel like he's a trickster. Like he likes doing the practical jokes and he likes stirring it up a little bit. Yeah. I especially love that Spike kind of like circles the plate and then lifts his nose like it's not good enough for him and he just walks away. That was my favorite little touch there.
I feel like that was the last. So the kids eat the dog food.
Right.
If that doesn't taste good, they spit it out. Food splatters everywhere.
Yeah, on the
This
camera
is an
even. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is an episode. Actually, every episode is just full of food flying,
Oh yeah.
food splattering, just like food-based chaos.
Yeah, in the
Every episode.
Yeah.
the episode Little Dude, there is a massive food fight that breaks out in the cafeteria. So yeah, it continues on well past the 3 episodes that you watched.
Yeah, but she's right. I mean, it's in everything. I mean, the second episode, the first part, is called Barbecue Story. So there it is. I mean, there's just meat flung all over the place in that one. Also, we should definitely come back to Sean's point about the peril.
Wait, hold on. Go meat flying everywhere.
Yeah, meat flung.
Go on. I'm listening.
That's gonna be a side cast. Sidecast. Saturday morning cartoons after dark. Cops.
Up all night.
So, barbecue story. We'll come back to the peril that these kids are in, because Tommy almost gets his face eaten off by a huge dog in this one, and it was actually almost scary watching this because it's baby versus basically rabid dog. Yeah, so there's barbecue story. Tommy goes off on kind of a solo adventure, just basically trying to murder everyone in a restaurant in the second half of that episode called Waiter, There's a Baby in My Soup. In the third episode, they go to the movies. Again, there's popcorn and soda and just a mess at the concession stand all over the place. And then I didn't get to see Slumber Party, but Laura, does the food frenzy continue in that as well? Do you remember? It feels
not
like
as much.
not as much. It
Not
feels
as
like
much.
they did it
no,
because...
Tommy does barf
Oh, well, there you
on
go.
Angelica.
Oh really?
Oh, because
Yeah.
he's sick. Yeah, he's got gray face.
Sick.
That's right.
And he's like hallucinating, and then he vomits on Angelica, who is some kind of flying creature.
Yeah, she's like a cherub because he's got a mobile above his bed
That's
that kind of
right,
spins
yeah.
around and has like these creepy eyes, and it turns into her because he's hallucinating. Yeah, I remember that one. That left a weird impression on me as a kid, I guess. But yeah, I guess they do the food fights because it's like, you know, what kids do. It's funny for young kids to watch. It's messy. It's colorful on screen. It's got some texture to it on the screen. So I find that interesting as like just from an animation and a storytelling standpoint. But yeah, weird. I did not pick that up that there's just food fights in every single episode. It's a little strange. Sean, what other ones were in yours though? Did that continue in yours? You said it did,
It
right?
continued in the episode 4, Little Dude.
Right.
There was there was definitely a food centric moment where Phil and Lil's what was it? Phil and Lil's mom. She leaves, I believe, Lil at a like at the craft services table
Okay.
with this like really super obese guy who's just like cramming donuts into his mouth. And she's like, "You watch my baby," and he's like,
I remember that. Yeah.
and she just like runs away, and I was just like, and that's when like Lil gets like up on top of like part of the lighting system, like the lighting tracks that are like up above, and like walks out, falls off,
Baby's
gets,
day
like,
out.
a hook, gets like yeah, exactly, gets like a hook through like her diaper,
Oof.
and then is like thrown onto a pillowy cloud in front of a pyramid of diapers. And it just, I mean, it was kind of a crazy episode, and so, I mean, that was the first episode that I watched,
Right.
and so, taking a look at that, I was like, oh my god, like there is, like,
Well, let's
I mean,
let's
I
do.
wish-
I mean, let's talk about the peril that these kids are in, because I mean, it's obviously funny to watch from home, but when you're thinking like, oh, if these were real kids, they'd all be dead. So let's just kind of like alternate as we go through these different episodes. So we'll do Laura and I will do one, then Sean will jump in. But basically,
so like Tommy's first birthday, what
Right.
were the opportunities for him to die?
well, first of all, they're
What were the death opportunity? What were the faces of death moments? that were
faces
in
of
this?
death. I don't know if they can get killed from ingesting dog food, but that was their primary motivation the entire episode. So I love the moment Laura mentioned at the end, where it's shot from like as if you had placed a camera in the bowl of dog food and you're looking up at all their faces, and they eat all the dog food. It's like their triumphant moment, and then it pauses and they just spit it all out because it's disgusting. But then they start acting like dogs. So I thought that was sweet, and all the parents think it's hilarious. Anyway, sidebar. The peril? Well, first of all, they try to get the dog food by stacking themselves on top of a counter, on top of like precarious, cookbooks and other utensils, stacked, 10 feet high, it seems, to try to get this can of dog food that's perched on top of the cupboards. So they're wobbling back and forth.
Kids do the darndest things.
Kids do the darndest things. And then, Laura, refresh my memory again. What comes flying in, courtesy of Chucky Finster, to help Tommy get his can of dog food?
It's the hoverama.
Yeah, Havarama. I thought you were going to go Hava What's It, but yeah.
Hover what's it? Yeah. And so he flies it in to help sort of tip the can over the edge of the shelf.
Right.
And Lil, who's a little bit bossy, kind of, I think she's proactive.
Yeah, the twins, and they cause lots of trouble because they kind of fight amongst themselves and they screw everything up for everybody else.
Yeah, I like it. You didn't see it in these episodes, but in later episodes, when the twins fight, they call each other Philip and Lillian.
Yeah. Philip,
it's really
Lillian.
hilarious.
Yeah. I also like that they
Lillian.
switch. I mean, they're identical twins except for a bow that Lil has. So when they want to like screw with their parents, I remember they would just flip the bow. Like Phil would take it and wear it, so they would alternate. It was pretty funny.
They do that in episode
Oh, and one that you
5,
watched?
Beauty Contest.
Cool.
Yeah, because Tommy is like, he's like, my grandpa and my dad are acting weird. They dress me like a girl, and Phil was just like, he's like, Lily and I change like,
Just
all the
swap
time.
genders all the time.
Yeah, they just take off their bow.
Yeah.
Like Lillian takes off the bow, gives it to Phil. Phil starts crying. The mother comes in, like kind of like plays with, what is Phil, but she thinks is Lil.
Right.
And she's like, girls at this age are just so like they cry all the time. Puts Phil/Lillian down, and then looks at Lil/Phil and is just like, that's my boy, being like a big tough man. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh boy, like what are people taking away from these from this show as a lesson?
Probably nothing. Probably just laughing because it's a comedy. Tommy's first birthday. So yeah. So what happens after the Hoverama comes in and gets all banged up?
It's like hooks on Tommy's diaper.
Yeah, there's apparently a lot of that
And-
going on in these shows.
It runs rampant
Apparently.
in the series. Actually, diapers are the best way to hook a baby because, I mean, otherwise you're just using skin.
That's true, and you don't really
Yeah.
want to do that so much. It's like picking up a cat by the scruff of its
Yeah.
neck. You don't want to do that with a baby, I've been told.
I mean, our son Jeremy has pretty good scruff.
The scruff of
but,
his. Oh, I almost said something terrible. I'm just gonna pass. Just gonna pass on that.
yeah, so Tommy's kind of floating, and Angelica's clinging to his feet, and the can of dog food is on top of the hoverama.
Right.
And it's brought gently back to Earth, but only after about 5 minutes of complete chaos.
Yeah, it's like this madcap
kitchen
run
where-
around the kitchen. It's like a Roger Rabbit scene or something. It's just complete
It's
cartoon
really fun.
insanity.
I really loved it. Yeah.
So that's the peril for
Like
them. And,
Angelica goes flying into a bag of flour.
That's
There's
right.
stuff spilled everywhere. The cake. Oh, and that's why I think that's how it ends. Is that something lands in the cake?
yeah, the hoverama just lands directly in the cake and just destroys the whole thing, which is pretty much the end to like the worst birthday party as far as the parents see it. The kids had a blast, but yeah. So that's the moments of peril on Tommy's first birthday. Sean, what do you got for your next moment of peril?
I mean, I talked a little bit about Baby Commercial,
Mhm.
and I talked about Little Dude. There are like a trio of girls that want to borrow Tommy to just kind of, get a little bit of a better understanding of, what it takes to parent a baby
Sure.
or whatever. And so they take Tommy around the school for maybe like a second, and then the second one of the trio of girls sees like a football player, she puts the baby on like the back of this like janitor's truck, and then the truck just like drives away and just leaves the baby, completely behind. And so it was just like, it was kind of silly.
If
But it like the way Tommy like gets off of the truck, I'm just like, he just kind of like jumps down from it, and I was like, oh no, that's how babies die. Like a baby rolling off the back of a pickup, that's a very injured baby. Like that is an immediate trip to the emergency
in the
room.
time you've been listening to this podcast, 2 babies have rolled off the back of a pickup truck. So I'd just like you to keep that statistic in mind.
One of them was Jeremy Sackflower.
Yeah, so I apologize. Rest in peace, I guess. But yeah, I think if memory serves correctly, Little Dude, that isn't there like a greaser guy that like sees Tommy
Yes,
and picks
there's
him up
a
and
guy
calls him
named-
Little
a guy
Dude?
named Rocco.
Yeah.
So that's actually
So that's
you
another
talk
moment of
to-
peril, I'd say. This creepy stranger holding a baby.
Well, no, he's not. Like he turns out to be like the diamond in the rough.
Oh,
Like
okay.
when Tommy goes into class, like Dee Dee presents him in this very like, this is a baby, and like everybody in the class is like, what? What is going on? That's a baby? And so she's and then somebody raises their hand and they're like, what's that smell? And she's like, oh, time to. That actually segues into my next
Oh,
lesson,
right.
which is to change a baby. And so like they do this like montage of each of the students like coming up, fitting like the different tropes that they have. Like one girl's like a Girl Scout, which high school seems way too old to be a Girl Scout.
Yeah, some people.
I was a Girl Scout in high school.
Take
Shut
that,
up.
Sean.
Were you? Okay, then I'm wrong.
was.
You
Then
guys
I'm-
have a
then
baby together. I feel like
I'm
you should
wrong.
know this.
I'm wrong.
You didn't
Look,
know that about me? I'm hurt.
Well, Jeremy Sackflower is not going to
He's
be.
he's dead
around
and
in
spread
Girl
all over
Scout.
the pavement anyway. He might actually be a brownie one day. Take that, Jeremy.
But he.
Can we just end on that high point?
Absolutely. All right, see you next time.
Well, that's been the show.
All right,
Thanks
thanks for
listening. We're out. But like, there's like a science geek who like takes his magnifying glass out and like
Ooh.
zooms in on Tommy's
Oof.
like, because they're showing it from the standpoint where it looks like it's Tommy's crotch
Right.
up towards all of them. And it's a weird angle, which is why when you guys were saying about all the, like the POV shots, I was just like, oh, the ones that I saw were kind of weird. So they have this like Tommy crotch shot, and then it cuts back at one point, and he's just in a diaper.
Right.
So like they've all been like standing there, not looking at any actual like baby poop.
Right.
But they're just all sitting there. Like at one point, the dude goes, "That's a bodacious load," and I was like, "You're looking at a diaper. Like how have you assessed the situation in any way, shape, or form? You're not even looking at baby poop right now." So, but then Rocco, to your point, the greaser comes in, Dave, and is just like, he walks in and is just like, snaps his fingers and takes off the diaper, throws it in the trash can, powders and wipes the baby, snaps his fingers again, gets a fresh diaper, puts Tommy together, and he's just like, yeah, there you go. He's like, I got a young I got a young brother about his age, so I'm used to it.
There you go, little
Like, wow,
dude.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Real cool.
yeah, real cool. Like Defiance.
I mean that's what he was. That's what he was.
100%. Exactly.
100%.
All right, so there's a
What
little
he
bit
was
of
modeled
peril in there, falling off pickup trucks and running around with greasers and the like.
Yeah.
And then we mentioned before barbecue story. The kids, they want to go into the next yard and they want to get a ball back, basically for like, I don't know if it's for Spike or if it's Tommy's favorite ball or whatever it is. But they basically run afoul of this like big guard dog that's chained up. Now, my favorite part, Laura, I don't know if you caught this, but do you know the dog barking sound effect on those old keyboards, the old like Casio keyboards, where you can, it's the same dog barking but like at different tones. That's what this dog was. It wasn't like an actual dog barking. It was this tone from the keyboard that they played ad nauseum for like 2 or 3 minutes straight. And it was completely ludicrous. But yeah, the kids wander into his territory and almost just get eaten. So if not for Spike running in to save the day at the end of the episode, they would have just been dog food, which would have been ironic considering the first episode. Yeah.
I was going to say, Spike is in some ways a better parent than any of the actual parents.
Oh, definitely. It goes Grandpa Lou and then Spike. And then none of the other parents.
None of the others.
No.
They're just all lagging behind in last place.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you caught this. The plot of this is that Tommy's in peril. All the kids are kind of in peril with this dog, and Spike rescues Tommy and brings him back. But meanwhile, all the parents are like freaking out, and Dee's like, "Where's Tommy? Where's Tommy?" And Spike brings Tommy back into the yard, and everybody's like, "Yay, hooray!" And like Chucky kind of shuffles in behind him, and like somebody's hugging Phil and Lil, and like Tommy's gotten swept up, and like poor Chucky is just like wah wah.
Well, Chucky has like we didn't talk about him much at all, but he's got a
backstory.
really sad backstory from what I remember. So like, does his dad even show up in the first couple episodes? I don't remember
His
seeing
dad
him.
is in the movie one. The
Was he
Reptar.
though? I don't remember seeing him. Okay.
He's seated there. He looks like just like a grown-up version of
Chucky.
Chucky. Yeah.
Sean, does he appear in any of yours? Do you remember? Chaz Finster?
No, in the 3 episodes that I watched, you only saw Chucky in 1 episode.
No, but not his dad though. See, isn't
Yeah,
his
not
dad?
his dad.
Isn't he a single dad? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, because his wife died, like giving birth to Chucky. Or
Like
something.
what
Yeah.
the fuck? Where does that gravity come from in this show? Like,
Yeah.
man. And then he's kind of the nerdy guy, and he's a little shy. He can fly a hoverama like crazy, but
I love his little kid voice. I think Chucky's is my favorite.
and
little kid voice.
you know who voiced him? It was Christine Cavanaugh, which probably doesn't mean anything to anybody. I was blown away when I found out that it was like a woman that voiced him for some reason when I was a kid. But she also does the voice of Oblina from Real Monsters. She does a lot of other great voices too. She's got a very like unique and characteristic voice. And yeah.
I think after learning that like Bart Simpson was voiced by a woman
Right.
when I was much younger, I was just like, oh, okay, then
That makes
this is
sense.
commonplace.
Yeah. I think most of the male babies are actually voiced by women on this show, which makes sense, just because their voices are higher. It'd be weird if a 1-year-old walked around sounding like me. That'd be a little strange.
I'm Tommy Pickles. How's everybody?
It would be the baby from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Just walking around smoking a cigar. How you doing,
Right?
Toots? Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? You guys want to get into some adventures?
Some adventures.
Want to get into some mischief?
Ooh, Crystal Twist.
God. There's like a part of me that thinks like at some point Dave is actually going to manufacture a drug.
Yeah, it's like Breaking Bad, but like
you
the
have
animated
chemistry
version.
know-how.
I do indeed. I want to break bad cartoon style and just make all the cartoon drugs. I feel like there is an untapped resource. Maybe this is our $1 million idea, so I'll just stop recording right now. Okay, we stopped? Good. I want to make...
We're not recording.
No,
Go ahead.
we're good. I want to make either real drugs with cartoon names and also possibly like candy drugs with cartoon drug names and sell it to the kids. All right? You guys on board?
You're a fucking monster.
No, it's totally fine. We'll make both and they'll look identical and I won't remember which is which.
Yeah, and then just, one late night, you'll just be like, oh, I'm really hungry.
One late Halloween
no.
night. Hey kids, here's a bag of candy. Crystal Twist, it's good for you.
Yeah, just to go back just about
Well,
the
hold on.
the
Should we start
idea.
recording again?
Yeah, we should start
All right,
recording
hit the
again.
button. Yeah, we're good. Okay, go.
Um, just to go back about like the peril for all these babies. The episode special delivery. At one point, Tommy like Stu is making a doll and it's not going well,
Right.
and so Dee Dee he gets a catalog, and the doll that's in the catalog is essentially what his doll that he's building should be.
I gotcha.
And so he's like, "Oh no, like this, I'm ruined. Like, this doll is already on the market. Like, my doll's maybe 6 months out from being done.
Right.
Like, what am I gonna do?" And so Dee Dee's like, "Well, just order the doll. Like, order the doll and see for yourself if it actually is what it says it is. Like a logical person
Yeah, exactly.
would do."
Sure.
So he orders the doll, comes the next day, and the mail carrier is just like, yeah, the item that you had was too big for me to carry on a delivery, so you have to go down to the post office and you have to pick it up.
Okay. I know where this is going. Yeah.
And so in the process, the mail carrier puts down his giant mail bag, and Tommy's just like, whoop,
Yeah, I'm gonna
right
climb in there.
and just climbs right into said mailbag, and like and Stu doesn't notice, the mailman doesn't notice, and so Tommy takes this like perilous journey through the fucking postal service, like through the post office, and winds up in the box where the doll is located.
Right.
Watching it, I was just like, this. I mean, like, yeah, you know what? I'm intelligent enough to understand that, like, yes, like much to Laura's point, like if there wasn't peril or if there wasn't some type of like a tilt in these episodes,
Right.
there'd be no story, there'd be no reason to watch it. But like, I don't understand how I didn't watch this as a child and just think to myself, wait, is the lesson or the idea that I should take away from this that like I should just put a baby in peril all the time?
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Well, I think this is just a function of you being closer to the age of the parents than the babies.
I 100% agree with you because honestly, like, I love the fact that this show didn't stress like moral lessons. They were just like, these babies are causing a shitload of trouble and they're almost dying every episode. Come on back next week. There wasn't a moral high ground. There weren't really lessons to be learned because these kids were too young to really learn them anyway. So it wouldn't even have made sense if they really tried to force it in there. I like that they didn't do that. It was just fun. It was just imaginative and a little, fraught with danger, but it was just fun.
I'd almost like what was it, like Fox when they do their ADHD?
Yeah.
I'd almost like them to do like a more accurate version of Rugrats.
They'd
that
just be,
actually
it'd just be like crawling
ends-
around and
ends-
nothing would happen.
always ends in a fucking funeral.
Oh, you mean them actually like going through? I don't know, like a kitchen, like at a restaurant, where Tommy's just
Yeah.
crawling among the racks of like scalding hot soup and knives. And
Uh-huh.
I love that scene because he just is wreaking havoc on this place and basically gets to the point where he's just murdering everybody in the restaurant. They're either getting like scalded or they're getting poisoned with like crazy hot spices, or he's tying their shoes to the table, or all kinds of crazy shit happens in that episode. We're running a little short on time, so I want to turn it back to Laura quick if she has anything you want to bring up from the last couple episodes we watched. If you want to talk Reptar, if you want to talk anything else.
I had a particular fondness in the Reptar episode for basically everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the movie that's being that the parents take the kids to, the Dummy Bears in the Land Without Smiles, which is a clear sort of Care Bears takedown.
Right.
It's like the sappy, corny cartoon movie. I love that. I love the babies sneak off. They go watch little snippets of other movies, and as adults, you kind of get the genre. And there's one where they go in, and it's like, at first I thought the couple on the screen, like their tongues were intertwining, but it was like just the woman in this embrace that's up on the movie screen just had really big pink lips. You know what I'm talking?
Yeah, I remember.
Because I was sitting
if, it
here
had,
with my
like,
friend.
if Rugrats had suddenly gotten like real sexy, I would have gone back and watched.
Like
that
if they would
episode.
have had the kiss from like Eon Flux, if they had that going on screen while the kids
Oh
walked
my
in,
God.
that would have been real weird.
So
Well,
much
my-
constant tongue.
Ugh.
Yeah, well, my friend and I were like, wait, are they like Frenching like a lot right there? And the babies are watching this, but no. And then Lil says, I hate kissing movies. Nothing ever happens.
She's great.
And it's just really cute. You know, they go and they destroy the snack stand that's being run by two teenage boys that are
They're like arguing about like which skateboard is better or something like that.
yeah, and they're like, forget you, man.
Dude.
No, forget you.
Yeah, right. Perfect 90s teen dialogue. But they don't even
totally.
they don't even stop
Totally.
totally. They don't even stop destroying the concession stand. They also go in and just destroy every bit of film strip in that place. They destroy the whole projection room, everything. Basically burn the theater down, it seems like. So yeah, these
pretty
kids
much.
are assholes, really. The parents are
But like
terrible.
nobody knows it's them in the end.
No,
All
even
the
Grandpa
adults,
doesn't even know.
Yeah, they're walking back out to the car at the end, and you overhear a couple like, "Oh, it's terrible. The movie it didn't even finish, and we didn't even get a refund." And like nobody knows that it's a bunch of babies who did this. They just sort of they're a crack team of Navy SEALs. They
Yeah, right.
they slip in.
Under cover of darkness.
Like SEAL Team 6, but with babies.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yikes.
And Reptar.
But that's our other $1 million idea.
SEAL Team 6
To
with
relaunch
babies.
the Baby Geniuses
Thank you
franchise.
so much for picking that up, Baby Geniuses SEAL Team 6. I would also watch that.
Oh boy.
Oof.
The hunt for Bin Laden.
The hunt.
Can there be like a tiny baby
Yep.
size
Tiny baby beard.
Bin Laden.
The hunt for Baby Laden. Oh boy. I'm gonna watch it. Let's get some babies together and we'll make this. Shoot it right
Nobody
now.
wants to see a baby get shot in the head.
Yeah, some
so
people probably do.
that's
There's a
where
lot of
we're
sick
gonna
bastards
rank
out there. Yeah, it's all the
I feel like
Rule
this is a
34.
niche market. Yeah, I mean, we're not getting wide appeal with this idea in any way, shape, or form.
Well, anything else from you guys for Rugrats before we get on to our recommendations, plugs, all that good stuff?
No, I think we're good.
I really
Sounds
wanna
good.
watch more.
You want to
Did
watch
you-
more? Okay, I'm with you. I'd like to watch some more. I want to watch more Reptar.
You two are gonna watch more.
Dude, I want to watch Reptar on Ice.
Maybe
I want to
I'll go
watch
watch
the
the
one Best of would be good. I want to watch. We should just do a quick like recommendation of our favorite episodes, just whatever comes to mind. Like so, Reptar on Ice, the one where Tommy gets trapped like in a department store or something, and basically Reptar fights this King Kong creature in the store. I don't remember why that happened or what exactly caused it to happen, but it's amazing. Those are probably my two favorite Rugrats episodes. You guys, do you have any that you remember just from like as a kid? Anything that jumps into your mind right now?
Yeah, just any episode where Tommy's in danger.
Oh, so all the episodes? Best of or otherwise? Yeah, we should mention actually that you can stream these on Amazon. I don't know if we mentioned that or not, but last week we mentioned that Doug and all his seasons of the Nicktoons Doug, they're on Amazon Prime, and you can watch Rugrats as well, Amazon Prime. And that's just a plug for them because they have an awesome service. They're not giving us anything except the free Rugrats. So, Laura, any other episodes that you remember from a kid that you kind of want to go back and check out now?
You know, it's when you mentioned Reptar and Ice and the other episodes, I definitely remember them, but there's none that really kind of stick out in my mind independent of that.
Yeah, and I feel like when the other kids started to roll people in, like when Susie came in, and then when Dill came in, and then eventually when the Rugrats grew up, which I never watched. It was like a second generation,
That
basically.
happened?
Yeah, the Rugrats all growed up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Because don't they
There's,
look like exactly like they did as babies, just taller? Isn't that?
Yeah, same like lumpy mashed
Yeah,
potato
that's
heads.
real
They
weird.
just like a little bit more hair, a little bit like
But not a lot more.
odd weird hair, and
Oh, there it is.
I do remember as a kid kind of wondering how Tommy's diaper stayed up, because it just seems to sort of hover around his midsection.
Yeah, all these kids are kind of like awkwardly built to begin with too, so I don't know what's going on, what's in the water over there, but yeah. Yeah.
I'm also eternally creeped out whenever the babies refer to diapers and they call them diapies.
Diapies, yeah.
That creeps me out. I hate that word.
So if you're keeping track at home, Sean doesn't like the word party. What was it? What was the other one he didn't like?
Slacks, commode.
Wow, we didn't even talk about these. This is a whole new list.
There's a whole list of words that I don't moist.
Moist and party, I remember. And now we'll add diapies to it. And apparently
Diapies.
slacks and commode too. So, yeah, there's that. Keep a list at home, kids, and make sure to send in your Mad Libs to Sean using these words. And just mail him to his house. That'll be fine.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
I'll put his address, his home address, so you can mail to online
You're
at
sure.
SaturdayMorningCartoons.com. And remember, that's morning with a U. Before we get into all that, do you guys recommend Rugrats? Do you want the folks to check it out if they have somehow missed it in the 90s? Sean, how about you? You're on the fence, I feel.
I'd say check it out. Maybe like watch one or two episodes.
Should we watch the first episodes, or should we watch the ones that you watched?
No, I mean, just pick a random episode. I mean,
From the 90s, from the early 90s.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's really nothing. Like, you could pick any episode because in every episode, Tommy and the gang are going to get in some kind of trouble, and there's no stakes involved, and nothing's going to happen, and the babies are going to be fine.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
True.
They're babies, and then none of the consequences or shit that happens or that they do in any episode is ever going to carry over to another.
Unless
episode.
you're Chucky, whose mother
safe.
died birthing him and bringing him into this world. That's it.
That's just the constant that we started the series with.
Poor
so that's the reality that he's living in.
Fair enough.
And I don't even really think you find that out until like much later on.
Yeah, they get a little darker a little later on. Laura, how about you? Do you recommend this one? Sounds like you do. You want to go back and watch them, so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can stick through 172
Oof.
episodes.
No.
It's just a lot of the time alone. But I think especially if you watched it as a kid, it is fun to rewatch.
Yeah, and like I said, they're on
I've never seen
Amazon
it
Prime.
before. I
So.
mean, the person I watched it with today liked it. They said they would watch it. They would watch a few more episodes. So
Man,
I would say yes, I recommend this.
cool. I feel like it'd be weird going back and watching this show now, having not seen it in the 90s, because I don't even know if I would know what was going on, but I feel like I'd still enjoy it, so I'll recommend it too. So that's a very rare 3 out of 3 recommendations. So yeah, there you go. And now, since we're coming to the end of the show, I'm going to turn it over to our very special guest, Laura, and she's going to let you know what she's got coming up over the next couple of weeks. If she's going to be, performing anywhere, what you got going on, Laura?
Well, hey, so I did not prepare for this portion of the show.
Right on the spot.
But I know I have. I know I have some improv shows coming up. Sean, we're on the
You want
same
me?
team.
You want me?
Why not-
Can I tag in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
bail
This is
me
tag
out,
team. Tag team.
Yeah, all right. Laura and I are going to be. Laura and I are in the same improv troupe in Washington D.C. Called Nox (NOX!) exclamation point. We're going to be performing on January 17th, 24th, 31st, and then February 7th and 14th.
Man.
All shows are going to be at 7:30 and at DCAC in Adams Morgan. So that'll be a lot of fun to come out and check those out. It's a part of WIT, that's witdc.org, Washington Improv Theater. It's part of their Wintry Mix Roadshow, and so we'll be doing that, which is great because we have 5 shows preceding us before we head on out to the West Coast to the San Diego Improv Festival, and we'll be performing out there on the 20th of February, and I believe the show's at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
That sounds right. We're opening for the headliner.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty fancy.
yeah, it'll be super fun. So if you're on the West Coast and you want to come and hang out, that'll be February 20th, San Diego Improv Festival. You can find more information for the Wintry Roadshow shows that are in DC at witdc.org, and you can find more about the SD Improv Festival at sdimprovfestival.com.
Very well done, you guys. You guys are going to be busy over the next couple of months. I hope I can keep you on the
Yeah, I know.
podcast here. Otherwise, it's just going to be me rambling about cartoons for an hour.
Oof.
And nobody wants to hear that.
That's actually I do love that podcast, like old man Dave's drunk ramblings about cartoons.
Yeah, actually, I'm
Here's
okay
the
with that.
thing.
Here's the thing.
Are we not recording right now?
Oh,
That's what my $1 million idea is.
Guys, we've each had one. That means that we're going to make $3 million.
Oh man.
Yeah, math.
I'm gonna take my million first, and then I'm gonna invest it in Dave's candy drugs.
Man, this can't fail.
Candy drug. I don't see any reason why we're not gonna be
This can't fail.
billionaires.
Look, I used to smoke candy cigarettes and chew candy chewing tobacco when I was a kid, so I feel like there's still a market for this.
Isn't that just Big League Chew?
I love Big League Chew.
Isn't that just Big League Chew?
It's Big League Chew. It's just shredded bubble gum in a pouch, and I loved it. It was the best. Let's bring that shit back. It's probably still there.
I think Big League Chew was the only reason that I played baseball was because my parents would let me have it.
Have Big League Chew.
if I
Did you
played
just
baseball. They
spit?
were just like,
Did you just
Yeah,
spit
yeah.
chunks of bubble gum out on the baseball field? This is ridiculous.
guys, I'd sucked at sports when I was a kid.
Big League Chew. That's because you were powered by all that sugary bubble gum. You just
Yeah, but you would
bonked.
think that like with all that sugar that I'd be like really good at something.
Yeah, for
like,
10
or
seconds and
like,
then you
maybe-
crash. That's it. You're done. Smoke
fair.
a candy cigarette on the sidelines. Anyway, where can the folks find you guys on social media? Sean, I'll start with you. Give Laura a chance to prep herself.
Sure, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sean Paul Ellis. Every Friday on Instagram, or no, I'm sorry, every Friday on Twitter, I've been doing a hashtag. It's Irrational Fear Friday. If you're listening and you want to jump in and you want to contribute, feel free to jump in with Irrational Fear Friday.
And if you're kind of curious about like what exactly that is, one of them might be like, I'm afraid that my child's going to turn into a sack of flour, or I'm afraid that my kids are going to do candy drugs. Those are both irrational.
Those are
fears.
all legit concerns to have.
Now they are. As of the airing of this episode, now they are rational once again. Laura, where can the folks find you on social media if you want to be found?
You can find me on Twitter at Lura.
At Laura, and you can find me at Dr. Claw MD on Twitter. If you want to find out more about the show, you can find us again at SaturdayMorningCartoons.com. Remember, that's morning with a U. If you want to find us on Twitter and say hello, we are at MorningToons. You want to check out our Tumblr page at SaturdayMorningCartoons.tumblr.com. Sean's been doing a real good job keeping content up on that site. Usually it's a lot of stuff related to the show we're talking about, but he finds lots of other hidden gems out there on the internet, so a lot of good stuff out there. If you want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or even suggest a show. We got a lot, but I would love to get more suggestions from you guys, especially stuff that we might have missed along the way. Send us an email, SaturdayMorningCartoons@gmail.com. If you want to listen to us each and every week here on the podcast, you can listen over iTunes or Stitcher. Feel free to subscribe to either one of those, and we'll bring this to you each and every week. You know what? I missed my own plug. How about that? If you want to find out more from me over at Collider.com, I do TV recaps of a lot of the superhero shows that are just starting to come back on the airwaves in 2015. So if you're interested in Gotham, The Flash, Arrow, The Walking Dead, and Constantine, you want to check out the recaps, head on over to Collider.com and look for my name. That's pretty much it for this week. Sean, do you want to let the folks know what we're doing next week on New Year's Nicktoons?
Oh man, I can't wait. Next week we are doing one of my favorite Nicktoons. It's also probably one of the sadistic and weirdest Nicktoon to ever. How this became a Nicktoon,
Or just cartoon ever. Like it's up there.
Right?
Just yeah.
But we are going to be watching John Craig Falusi's wonderful The Ren and Stimpy Show.
Oh, I cannot wait because that thing is just like a
wait.
carnival of horrors, and I hope it's as good as I remember it. Yeah, it's going to be good times. I'd also like to thank Laura for joining us once again and lending her lovely
Yes,
voice
thank you.
and witticisms to the show. Two kinds of air horns for you. That's all we got.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Thank
all
you.
that.
My pleasure.
That's all that $1 million paid for.
And Jeremy says that he had a very nice time too.
I'm pretty sure he's still on the side of the road, but okay.
You are a wonderful mother to our Jeremy Sackaflower baby.
Well, while these two make up, we're going to say thank you again for listening. Sean, I'm actually going to give you a chance to do an outro in your best Rugrats baby voice.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is going to be real good. Get ready.
You guys want to go on an adventure? It's not even a baby.
No.
I have no idea.
It's like a creepy kid that lives next door. That was a creepy ghost that comes to my window every night.
Gently taps on the glass.
You
with
guys
a
want to
little
have an
fingernail.
adventure?
I feel like I channeled like the two girls in like The Shining at the end of the hallway. Oh, what is wrong with me?
Sleep well tonight, kids. You want to try again, or are you good?
open.
Are you good? Okay. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. So thanks again for listening. We will talk to you guys next week. Once again, this has been Saturday Morning Cartoons. Have a good one.